Hello, Star Wars world, and welcome to the Padawan podcast, Apocalypse Movies, all Star Wars podcasts, where we try to break down everything from the galaxy far, far away. That includes film, TV, comics, novels, merchandise, whatever we want to talk in the world of Star Wars. This time we are talking Star Wars Rebels, the animated series on Disney XD from executive genius Dave Filoni over at Lucasfilm. The series just wrapped up. By this time it comes out Monday night. We've wrapped up the 4 seasons of Star Wars Rebels, the latest animated show from the galaxy far, far away. I am your host, Jake Blinn, a.k.a. Qui-Gonn Jake, and I am joined today by the newly named...
Potentially.
Well, we have a couple in mind, but we're going to roll with this one today. The 5th brother, Brian Avolicino. A little play on the Inquisitors from Rebels Season 2. He's kind of a black soul kind of guy, so we're going with the little bit of the dark side sense with him. We've got a couple in mind. We'll kind of go over them maybe a little bit later, kind of to see what we can decide, but his heart's a little bit a little hard to play with. So, we're going to be talking Rebels, kind of the entire series, not just the finale or Season 4, whatever it is. The show is done, and so we can talk about it. We can theorize as to maybe what's going to happen next. Just talk about the characters and the stories and where it kind of lies in the world of Star Wars. And we're not going to go season by season or episode by episode or whatever it is. It's kind of going to be all over the place. But we're going to pose some questions and kind of answer and talk about them a little bit. I think where I want to start, though, is obviously we always talk about, with TV shows, what is your favorite season? You know, do you like Season 2 or do you like Season 1 more, like when it was first introduced? And honestly, like, all of these seasons have been really, really good. Yes, there's been filler episodes and disappointment episodes in parts of the season. Some weren't used as well as they probably could have been, and vice versa. But I think it's safe to say that Rebels overall was a complete success. For me personally, although I absolutely 100% adore what this last season did and how it kind of wrapped up the world of Rebels and where the characters are and everything going on, I always continue to go back to Season 2. Mm-hmm. We got the Darth Maul storyline as he came back from Clone Wars. We got Ahsoka Tano, who showed up in there after disappearing on the Clone Wars towards the end of Season 5. And we saw Ezra becoming something a little bit more. Kanan was kind of growing into be a little bit more of a Jedi Knight, more than a Padawan. There were so many things kind of going on in that season. And then, obviously, the last episode of that season where everything wrapped up in the Sith Temple with Vader and Ahsoka, with Maul and Kanan, with Ezra and the Inquisitors. Like, there was so much going on in that final episode. Like, I always go back to that episode. And so, Season 2 for me kind of had it all. As I mentioned earlier, yes, everything kind of has filler episodes. But overall, I continue to go back to that season just because I felt like it was a steady pace of the main story throughout the entire thing, because we kept getting more and more Maul as the season kind of went on.
Yeah, I actually was sitting here while you were saying that, thinking about it, and right before we started this, I was thinking Season 3 was my favorite. But I think I'm a little blinded by the fact of Thrawn. I'm a huge Thrawn fan. He is one of my all-time favorite villains. But, I just kind of quickly just glanced through everything that happened in Season 2 and Season 3. And, without Thrawn, Season 2 is by far the best one.
Yeah.
So, you saying all those points, you hit the nail on the head. It had so much stuff going on. So much, as we said, I like myself some bad guys. So, you got the Inquisitors, you got Darth Vader. I mean, it goes on and on. So, the more you talk about it, Season 2 was just strong. Yeah, it's funny because you caught me off guard. I was thinking the whole entire time season 3, and the more you kept listing them, I was like, oh yeah, that was a really good one. Oh, that's really good too. Oh, how could I forget that one?
I think the cool thing about Rebels through the entire run is that how connected yet far away it was from everything we know about Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
But what season 2 did, it was by far the most connected to what we know of Star Wars.
Yeah.
Not only was Vader, he was used, but he was used in the right way.
Yes.
When he was there, he wasn't overshadowing anything. It was more in the sense of Rogue One. He would pop up and he would make his power known.
He was in the background.
You obviously had Ahsoka, which was a little just nod to previous fans who have been with the animated stuff for a long time.
More than a nod.
Obviously, you have from the Phantom Menace and then the Clone Wars as well. And it was also a lot of Jedi stuff going on with Kanan and Ezra. That's when the peak of, oh my God, is Ezra going dark thing popped up, and we officially know, hey, that's not happening. He's actually a clean-cut, good guy. That season, we also got Lando and Leia in that season. I forget about that.
We got
Lando was in a few episodes, but Leia had that kind of small arc as well, where she was in there a little bit as a 16-year-old senator, which was really, really cool the way they used her, because she was on the side of the Empire, which was interesting to see. And so season 2 kind of had it all as far as story, as far as character use, not using what we know too much and kind of implementing the new stuff. It was just all around a fantastic season.
It seemed a lot of the times to try to tie up some loose ends where it could, movie-wise, and then create like a new twist from old content that progressed through farther seasons, 3, 4, but it kind of was the launching point, when you think about it, for a lot of things going forward.
Well, that season, just specifically the season finale, the series finale hinged on what happened in that that episode. We learned what was it last week, that the whole time and space things with Star Wars, where time travel is officially now canon in Star Wars. Whether it's going to be used, we don't know, but it's in there, and that is because of the season finale of season 2. So yeah, I mean, it is all opinion. Like, a lot of people are gonna like season 1 because it's the introduction. It was a lot more fun and different and kind of lighthearted. Season 2 really got more into the depth of Star Wars and the canon stuff. I would probably say, personally, for me, that season 3 might be the least favorite of mine.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that rides on the use of Thrawn in comparison to kind of what we were expecting. Because I think that we can both agree that he was not used as much as we probably hoped he was.
No, he definitely was there. He was kind of like a loomer. Like, you expected him to do some stuff, and he kind of would just stay on his ship.
Yeah.
Stay in his office. A couple times they'd maybe, like, break in or whatever. But he didn't do too much. And
he was always commanding.
Yeah, he was definitely establishing that he was a military strategist type person.
He's very intelligent.
Yes, very intelligent. We saw in one of the episodes that he does have the combat skills.
Yeah, when the robots went haywire.
Yeah, but they needed to do that maybe a little bit more.
And we'll get into a little bit later maybe the reason why he wasn't, as far as maybe theorizing what's to come in the future. But as far as what happened in this series, I definitely agree with you. He kind of...
He's a tactician.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, like he's a fantastic character, and every time that music pops up when he's on, like, it's so horrifying. And
the guy's voice.
Yeah, well, you know who voices him, right?
No.
Mads Mikkelsen's brother, Jyn Erso's father.
Oh my God.
His brother voices him.
Well, his voice is perfect. It's so
eerie. Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, he's a great character, and he had some really, really cool monologue type speeches where he would use such great words and timing, like, that would just make you kind of cringe and get the goosebumps on the way he talks, but he didn't really do a whole lot.
Yeah.
Like, he was much more just on a ship, doing his thing, kind of commanding Governor Price around, or at the time, Callus, or whatever it was.
Loved him.
they were kind of all doing his dirty work, where he was just kind of the, like you said, the strategist behind the scenes. And so I think the disappointment of his character kind of rides a lot of what season 3 did. And we didn't get a whole lot of him in season 4 as well.
No.
Like, they kind of held back on him and focused a lot more on the rebels, which made sense, but
it was a lot of General Price.
He wasn't involved as much as I hoped he was. Like, when you see the name Thrawn, for Star Wars fans who know canon and the extended universe and stuff, you expect him to be thrown at you as much as you possibly can.
Yeah.
He definitely wasn't there for me.
They definitely used him for a namesake.
Yeah.
A lot more than they used him for storyline, in my opinion. I mean, I know a lot of people will agree with me, but I would have loved to see him and Darth Vader together.
Yeah, just a scene of them, like, just even talking. Because of how intelligent they both are when they speak to each other or speak to other people. Like, ugh.
Like, that's... And it kind of bums me out, because that's one thing I think we'll... I mean, granted, we will have the Thrawn Alliance book. Alliance, one of those. So we'll get that, but we'll never get to see it on screen.
Well, and what would have been interesting about those two is that would have been the first time we had ever seen Thrawn cower because Vader's above him.
Yeah.
If something happened. Like, it would almost be like an Orson Krennic Vader thing in Rogue One, where Krennic kind of went off, but then Vader was like, you know, speak wisely, dude, because I can crush you in a heartbeat.
Yeah. So that was kind of a bummer for me, not getting that. But, I mean, there's only so much you can do.
Yeah, no, totally. And again, we'll get into... we're going to do a video that kind of theorizes and speculates and just kind of discusses as geeks as far as what's going to happen next for animation in Star Wars, and we'll get into Thrawn there.
Yeah, we could see a whole lot
there
more
can
of
be
him.
there can be a lot more stuff coming from him. But you know, as we're on the topic of characters, let's kind of get into the topic of maybe favorite characters in the series. Specifically, maybe the Ghost Crew, maybe even some supporting characters as well.
Okay.
I'm gonna shoot this one to you first, Brian, because I know that you enjoy this stuff a lot as far as characters, and you know, I turned you on to Clone Wars a little bit, and Rebels has kind of always been a little bit of thing as well. So specifically sticking to the extended Ghost Crew, not just the main 5,
okay,
or the main 6, I should say, with Chopper, but you have Rex and you have Ahsoka and you have Gregor and like all those guys that we saw. Even we can even throw Callus in there because he was involved in there as well. At the end of season 4, that Ghost Crew, the main one, which one would you say is probably your favorite?
If I'm picking out of the Ghost Crew, not including Chopper because he doesn't say any words.
By the way, do you know who voices him?
A machine. I mean,
Dave Filoni.
Really?
Mm-hmm. It's been a mystery since the show started. It was revealed after the show ended.
Well, he's freaking hilarious.
He's a genius.
Whenever he does his wah.
Yeah.
So if I'm gonna pick someone, Chopper's just personality wise, but out of the Ghost Crew, I'm definitely going with Kanan. I mean,
he's a good one, man.
He was phenomenal. Freddie Prinze Jr. voiced him.
Yeah, he's so good.
Beyond fantastic.
Imagine seeing Freddie Prinze Jr. live action Kanan.
I want Kanan to be
that would have been
live
awesome.
action so bad.
That would have been awesome.
He is such a good character, such a good master.
Mm-hmm.
He was just
as a young master too.
Yes, and like I found myself always wanting to know more, always wanting to just listen to him talk, because everything he said always had like some purposeful type meaning. The way he just like taught Ezra was like something we haven't really seen before.
Well, it was surprising because he had such little training. Because he was like in the early stages of his training when Order 66 happened.
Yeah.
And arguably, I mean, he's become one of the more popular and favorite and even powerful masters in the current canon universe.
Oh yeah, 100%. And just I mean, my heart literally broke when he bit it. But the way he went out was so
that moment
meaningful, and you were just like, ugh, it just crushed you. But it was like you got this sense of purpose from the ending of him. It's funny because I left wanting more from him, and it's just kind of a bummer that he's the only one that didn't make it out. Do we want to do? Should I go who outside of the Ghost crew?
Yeah. Who else? A supporting character
outside of the Ghost crew. I mean, if you've listened to the last two, you pretty much know who my guy is Agent Callus. I love that guy. Love his story arc. Did not see it coming when he was the double agent. Fulcrum. Did not see it coming whatsoever. I loved his storyline was so good. He was so evil in the beginning, but then switched. But I always kind of felt like maybe he could go bad again. Like,
he was never. You never felt like he was fully there.
Yeah, but like it was made very clear at the end. Like he felt guilt-ridden, and I felt like for a supporting character, he had such a good story, and it was told very well. I think it helps that it stretched almost all 4 seasons.
Yeah. And he wasn't in every episode.
No, he was barely in season 4.
Yeah, so he was kind of spread. He was spread very nicely throughout the series.
Yeah, they eased him out, and you still felt like you got a lot of him. So yeah, those are definitely my 2 favorites. What about you?
I mean, I think you know who my favorite is. If I was to go, I mean, so I'm taking Ahsoka out of it because I continue to talk about her.
She's Clone Wars.
Yeah, well, you know.
I mean, she's both, but
yeah, I don't know. I would go with Kanan. I'm not gonna go with Kanan just because you go with him, but he's hard to argue against because of what he meant. When he did die, and when he sacrificed himself for everyone else, you felt the loss within everyone else, like how much he meant to everyone and what it meant, but that also kicked up the notch for everyone to kind of get stuff done and kind of move forward. If I'm to go in just the ghost crew, man, this is hard because there's 2 that I have in mind.
I already know one.
There's 2 that I have in mind, and one of them had the most phenomenal arc in an animated show that I've seen over a course of seasons. But I think I'm gonna go Hera.
I knew it. Yeah.
I think I'm gonna go Hera, and
yep.
Just
she was amazing.
Yeah,
she was my close backup.
Well, her arc, it's between her and Ezra for me personally.
Really,
Ezra's arc, specifically in the last season, and specifically when Kanan died, that's kind of what the turning point was for me.
Wow. Okay, I'm actually surprised by that. I thought you were between Sabine and Hera.
Yeah, and, oh man, I love Sabine too, but Hera from the beginning was always the strongest person on this crew. She was always making the decisions. She was always making the hard decisions. She did the stuff with the rebels and all this other stuff, and she just that mother figure in the crew, kind of pacing everyone along. She was the one who could get through to Kanan. She was the one who could get through Sabine and Zeb and all these characters. And then at the end of season 4, her kind of being like, okay, I don't need to be calling the shots here. I like this plan. I like this plan. Like, that's what a good leader does.
Yeah, dude.
It reminded me a lot of Leia.
Oh,
it reminded me a lot, more recently Leia specifically, but it reminded me a buttload of what Leia would do as well, because she didn't always need to call the shots.
Okay.
And so, plus she's a phenomenal pilot, and she kicks total ass in the Ghost.
Oh, yeah.
And then as far as supporting characters go, it's hard because there's so many of them. But I think that for me, the one that I always enjoy on screen just because he's so ridiculous and over the top and just a really good time, Hondo. Like,
Hondo's freaking
you can't go wrong with Hondo, man. Like, and he came over from Clone Wars, and just like Callus and other characters that we saw throughout the series, he was used in such a smart way.
Yeah.
Only when and what kind of made me realize this is his relationship with Ezra. Like how he's just
loves Ezra.
like their relationship and the way they talk to each other is just so much fun, and it's like that very much older brother little brother conversation.
It kind of reminds me of that cool uncle.
Yeah, and it's such a cool little back and forth between the two of them. And I was so happy to see him in the series finale because it was kind of wrap up of all these characters together.
He didn't even have to say anything. I just started laughing.
Yeah, like just the way he acts, and it's just a good time with him. So I would definitely say Hondo.
Didn't even think of him. He's pretty freaking.
Yeah, well, I actually almost went with the Grand Inquisitor from season 1.
Dude, the Inquisitor. I was trying to stay with like
the real
hearts.
Yeah.
But the Inquisitors are so bad.
Well, specifically the Grand Inquisitor, and he only lasted a season, man.
Yeah, I know. They didn't do too much justice with these villains.
Well, that's very true. But I think it was more of a setup because we learned a big thing with him when he died is that he was a temple guard.
Yep.
And then he turned bad, and then he's popped up in the Darth Vader comic run.
And Thrawn had maybe his mask.
Maybe
his mask.
So he had a big deal, even though he died very early on. He had a huge thing. So.
And he was just nasty looking.
Yeah, he was. I mean, he was a total badass. That lightsaber he had was pretty awesome.
Oh,
the spinning one, yeah, that was great. I remember that first trailer came out of season 1, and he had that saber. We were all losing our minds. And then Kylo Ren came out, and we were losing our minds again with the cross guard.
All right.
Oh my god.
We can go on forever about lightsabers alone.
Yeah. So all right. So we wrapped up seasons. We wrapped up characters. Let's get to the goods here. So. Obviously, we're all going to be talking about and discussing where Rebels ranks within Star Wars. Of course, it's not going to be ranked within the films. Of course, it's not going to be ranked within, books or whatever it may be. But I wanted to get specific here and see, because overall through 4 seasons, there was one central storyline. It was the freedom of Lothal. It was always based on freeing Lothal, focusing, like they always... No matter where they went.
It ended where it started.
Yes.
Literally.
No matter where they went, no matter where they ended up in the galaxy, they always came back to Lothal.
Mm-hmm. That was always Ezra's main goal.
And so I wanted to ask you and myself this, but if you were to rank as far as stories go, not specifically like 1 through 10 or whatever, including movies, including books or whatever it may be, like let's say like a top 5 or a top 3 or something, top 10, where does the Rebels storyline, the main storyline about focusing on Lothal and everything going on in the series, rank for you? Is it higher or lower than you expected?
Higher, way higher.
Like top 3, top 5?
I would say at least top 5.
Okay.
I can already tell you right now, I loved the storyline more than Clone Wars.
Well, there were a lot of storylines in there.
Every single one. Okay. I can tell you. Literally point blank.
Mm-hmm.
Are we saying better than certain movies?
Yeah, we can go there.
I'll go. It was better than. I'm gonna get so much shit for this. Better than Return of the Jedi. I will say better than Episode 2. Mm-hmm. I'll even maybe go as far as saying better than Episode 1. It's really hard to say better than...
It's not better than Episode 3.
Yeah. I was going to say 3, 4, and 5 are almost untouchable. Yeah. Force Awakens and Last Jedi, it's just... those two right now, they're still so, like, fresh. And, I mean, they're so new. It's so different. So...
What about Rogue One?
I would say better than Rogue One.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I loved this storyline way more than I thought I would. Way more than Clone Wars took me a while to get through.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when you first started trying to get me to watch this, I want to say it was the first 2 seasons. I binged so hard on those 2 seasons, did not stop, and I don't think I've ever done it with anything else like that. But I'll say, well, if we're counting movies, I'd say probably my 6th. It would be around 6.
Okay.
So around 5 or 6, because I feel like you can't touch 3, 4, or 5
mm-hmm.
episodes. 7 and 8 are just so kind of new,
mm-hmm.
but it would be right around there. But I'll go as far as saying better than Rogue One.
All right, interesting. I would agree on Episode 1 and 2. Definitely.
You love yourself some Rogue One.
Yeah, I do. I'm not going to go as far as say I'll put it in top 5, but I would definitely put it in top 10.
Okay.
And there are a lot of Star Wars storylines. Like, if we include, you know, the books or the comics or the whatever we can talk about. Like, there's a lot.
I didn't even think about books.
There's a lot of stuff that we can mention. But in comparison to Clone Wars, I think I still will... As far as arcs go, I will still always go back to the Mortis arc in the Clone Wars.
Oh, I don't even...
That 4-episode arc.
I always forget that, but that's such a pow... It literally has its own arc in this.
Yes, and so the 4-episode arc in Clone Wars may be my all-time favorite animated arc going.
Oh, I forgot about that.
But as a series, I think I like Rebels more than Clone Wars at this moment. Which
means that it could change.
It's very hard for me to say that because I really, really like Clone Wars. Because I like seeing Anakin the way he is and how good he is as a Jedi and how powerful he is. Obi-Wan, like all of these characters that pop up. The Ventress stuff is fantastic.
Love Ventress.
But I think at this moment in time, I like Rebels a little bit more. Because the way it ended with it, I lost my crap.
You did.
I lost my
photo
crap.
Of just you looking like just dazed.
I lost my crap, and so, yeah. I mean, I it's hard for me to say top 5 because movies will always be the point blank best in Star Wars. But Rebels is up there, man. It is a really, really good Star Wars story.
It really is.
Like, it could be. Imagine it as a spin-off trilogy.
I was just about to say,
spin-off
can you imagine
trilogy.
If it was like even just a couple movies? How amazing that would be! Oh,
that'd be crazy.
It'd be nuts,
dude. Maul and Ahsoka in the first movie, Thrawn in the second one, and then you have Vader and Palpatine in season 3 or the third movie.
Although I'm not gonna lie, if I saw the Obi-Wan and Darth Maul scene on screen, I'd be pissed. How quick that would be, I'd be pissed.
But just imagine Ewan McGregor versus Mulligan on screen.
Would be nuts.
Even if it was like short-lived.
I don't even know if I would be able to handle seeing Thrawn on the big screen.
You would be me as I was watching the season finale.
I would probably be way worse. I'd probably have to get up and leave.
Oh man. Yeah, so I mean that's kind of going to conclude our Rebels talk a little bit. We didn't get into too much detail, but we want to talk about a few things, kind of recap the series. But I guess before we get out of here, I want to ask you, Brian, what does it mean to you to have a series like Rebels out there to watch whenever you please? What has it meant to you over the last few years? Like, has it brought joy? Has it brought terror? Have you realized you've liked more things in Star Wars than you have before? Just what has the series meant overall to you?
So I'm 0 for 2 on thinking that these cartoons are stupid. Every single time I've seen a cartoon for Star Wars, I've gone in my head and gone, oh my god,
this is so good.
Another cartoon. And then I watch it because someone makes me watch it, i.e. you.
Yeah.
And I've been so freaking wrong, it's not even funny, that I will never, from this point on, question another Star Wars cartoon.
Yeah.
Because...
Especially with Dave Filoni.
Oh, 100%. I will say this. The Forces of Destiny, I'm finding a little just kind of like whatever.
But those are just shorts for kids. Those are on Disney's YouTube
so
channel.
I don't know how much we're counting on those.
Yeah.
But as far as Rebels, it's... I literally, if I could somehow conjure up $100, I'd go buy all 4 seasons right now and rewatch the whole entire... in fact, that's what I've been wanting to do lately, is rewatch all of the episodes.
I'm going to give it a little bit of time.
I know.
Because I don't want to burn through and be like, man, I was dead over so fast. Because they're only 30-minute episodes.
Yeah, but there's 75 of them.
Dude, you know how fast you can burn through that?
It took me a while for Clone Wars.
Yeah, but you know what to expect with Rebels.
Yeah, but see, I binged the first 2 seasons, so I probably didn't enjoy it as much.
This is only 4 seasons.
I know. Regardless, Rebels...
And... unlike Clone Wars, you don't have to move around in chronological order. You would literally go straight through.
Thank God.
And you would burn through it that quick.
I just really want to go through season 1 and 2 again, I think.
I think I'm gonna watch them after Solo.
Okay, that's fair enough.
They like this summer because I'm also gonna recap Game of Thrones before next year.
You keep saying that.
But I gotta give it time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You keep saying that, but
yeah, I mean, no, I'm with you. Like I was at work earlier. I'm like, man, I'm going home. I'm gonna watch Rebels. I'm gonna watch the series
went
finale
to bed
again.
watching it again.
I'm gonna watch the series finale again. I didn't get to, but
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I just want to watch it just to see what happens and like everything that goes on and how much I love these characters and the fact that we know that they're freaking alive past the original trilogy. That just excites me. And so for me, I mean, yeah, Rebels is Rebels, man.
It's definitely made its own place in Star Wars.
Yeah, it's
By
engraved
far.
in Star Wars history. It's phenomenal. Dave Filoni and company have done absolutely fantastic work with this. I mean, it's what they have done with characters and how they have pushed the boundaries for animated television as far as like action and sci-fi and like all this type of stuff, fantasy. What they have done with Star Wars characters and stories in general in comparison to what we've learned through old movies, through new movies, just it's great. It's really, really great. And yes, there were those times where we got bored with some episodes because they were fillers. And again, this is on Disney XD, guys. There's going to be those kind of episodes. But when we watched the series finale, one of the biggest filler episodes...
I've been waiting for you to say this.
I said this one, and we could probably go back on an old Padawan and find this review, but I said the Space Whales episode was the biggest filler episode the series has ever done. Well, I've been stuped by Dave Filoni because those guys, the Space Whales, are the most important things in the series. They literally saved everyone.
It's ridiculous.
And so that's just kind of what the series does, man. It's phenomenal, and I'm going to miss having it around big time.
Oh, yeah.
But I also know special things are coming.
Oh,
If we think what's coming is coming, I'm going to lose my crap that much more.
Just picture Ahsoka in that white robe with the staff, and that's all you need.
But it hasn't been confirmed. I guarantee you it's going to be here soon.
I mean, Filoni said that Ezra and Thrawn survived.
Yeah, and so, dude, I can't get you to talk.
This is a whole nother thing.
Yeah, it's a whole nother thing. So, yeah, that's gonna wrap up the Padawan for this episode. We may jump on tomorrow and do this again. Who freaking knows? But we just wanted to share our love for Rebels, kind of recap the series as a whole. It is officially finished. If you have not watched Rebels, go watch Rebels. Like it is worth
doing
it.
yourself a disservice.
It is worth every second you watch it because the end game is so powerful in Star Wars. Like it is such great television. Just watch it. They're 20-minute episodes. They do not last long at all.
You'll burn through them.
Yeah, so go watch it. Support this show. Support animated Star Wars because it's honestly really, really good.
Very good.
It's really good. So, yeah, that's going to wrap up our Rebels series talk. I am Jake Berlin, a.k.a. Qui-Gonn Jake, for the fifth brother, Brian Avolicino. And again, we are working on that name. We got a couple names in mind.
We got a couple. We'll see.
We'll see what happens. It may change every episode for all we know. We thank you for joining us today. Check out everything we got going on here at Apocalypse Movies. The movie show on a weekly basis. We got trailer reactions, movie reviews. We're trying to do as much Star Wars Rebel stuff as possible. Check that out. Look out for our theory video for the next animated show, which should come out in another day or so. Support that. We just appreciate all the clicks, shares, likes, comments, subscribes. Again, thank you for joining us. And until next time, may the Force be with you.